Thank you, Bob. My name is Elissa Garr. I'm the Executive Director of First Star, which is a national 501c3 public charity dedicated to improving the lives of victimized and abused children for over a decade. Our mission is to shed light on the issues facing society's most vulnerable children, since these children are often unable to do so themselves. I am pleased to address you today in conjunction with the release of the latest report card on state secrecy and child deaths, prepared by Kai and First Star. I wanted to offer you a perspective on one state, Maryland, our neighbor. What has happened in Maryland is instructive on why doing the report cards and then circling back to take a second look is so vitally important. It is important to make sure that progress is made in the states where progress is needed, where a low or failing grade indicates the need for action. However, Maryland's experience also underscores the fact that changing state laws may not be an adequate solution. A national solution to the issue of child deaths is in fact necessary. When First Star and Kai produced the first report card on state secrecy in April of 2007, Maryland's then existing law received an F. In light of this abysmal grade, child advocates in Maryland worked with great energy and purpose to improve the law to enhance the accountability of the Department of Human Resources in Maryland. Their effort led to the passage of a law in 2010 that, at least on paper, would have been a significant improvement. The law had an effective date of October 1st, 2010, and First Star reached out to Maryland officials to determine how the state intended to handle implementation. The Department of Human Resources, at the outset, refused to develop regulations to implement the law, which would have subjected the agency to discernible standards and provided transparency and accountability. A lengthy process ensued while First Star waited for information that should have been readily provided. At long last, by letter dated August 19, 2011, the Department of Human Resources responded to First Star's standing request for information, providing limited information about 3 children who died in Maryland and whose families had no active child welfare case at the time of death and had no prior history of child welfare services. Thus, the Department of Human Resources released information only about children with whom it had no previous connection or responsibility. The Department of Human Resources further noted that it was not providing information about cases which were ruled out, even though the law does not provide an exception for such cases. First Star has received no additional information in response to its standing request. A comparison of sheer numbers with child fatality data maintained nationally indicates a significant discrepancy. Data from Maryland from the National Clearinghouse on Child Abuse and Neglect indicate that the numbers of child fatalities was 20, 17, and 24 respectively for each of 2008, 2009, and 2010. Yet, in the several years since Maryland's law was changed, only 3 deaths have been found by the Department of Human Resources to be reportable. The second report card provides the opportunity to take a second look at Maryland and to see what, if any, progress it is making. First Star believes that the state can do better, even under the existing law. We also believe that a national solution in the form of strengthening CAPTA's requirement that states enact laws that will provide for constructive disclosure of child deaths is warranted. We urge you to support this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Elissa. I guess it won't make you feel any better to know that in California, the Department of Social Services adopted their regulations, and their regulations contract the law, moving us from an A to a C+, Among other things, they contend that only if the abuse and neglect is caused by the parent, not by the child care center, or the educator, or a sibling, or someone else, is it reportable. And they have about 4 or 5 other requirements as well before they're reported. So we have a problem with not only having a second edition, we're going to have a third edition, and I suspect a fourth and a fifth, because we're going to have to keep on these folks, because if they can secrete and conceal what's happening, they will. They perceive it to be in their interest to conceal what they're doing because they're afraid of the consequences of failure. And although it's possible to over-accuse, it's also an imbalance if you don't know.